Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. Proverbs chapter 3, 5 and 6. We live in a world obsessed with control. Plans, goals, calendars, and checklists give us a sense of security, like we're steering the ship of our lives toward a destination we've carefully mapped out. And I'll admit, I find comfort in that structure. I thrive on planning. I love having a strategy. But there's a subtle danger hidden in that very habit, the temptation to plan my life without first seeking God. It's not that organizing your day is wrong, far from it. But the problem begins when our plans become self-made blueprints, drafted in our own wisdom, without ever consulting the one who holds time itself in his hands. When we build out visions and then ask God to sign off on them after the fact, we risk missing the greater purpose he had in mind all along. This isn't just a modern problem, it's been happening for generations. In Isaiah chapter 30, verse 1, the Lord speaks directly to this kind of independence. He says, "Woe to the rebellious children," declares the Lord, "who carry out a plan, but not mine, who make an alliance, but not by my Spirit, heaping sin upon sin." In other words, God's people were crafting strategies, but they left him out of it. They were following the practices of Egypt instead of the instructions of the God who had delivered them. They poured out offerings, not in worship to him, but in imitation of the culture around them. And we do the same. We chase advice from influencers before we seek wisdom from the Word. We ask friends what they think before we fall to our knees in prayer. We turn to TED Talks, to books, to strategy sessions, while our Bibles gather dust. In doing so, we replace surrender with self-reliance. We lean on intellect instead of intimacy. We forget what it says in Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. But here's the truth. You and I weren't designed to carry the burden of direction alone. We were never meant to be the source, only the vessel. God doesn't want your finished plans brought to him for approval. He wants to sit with you before the first draft. He wants to shape your priorities, guide your timing, and write the story with you, not after you. But for that to happen, we have to come to him open-handed. That means laying down our pride, our hustle, and our carefully constructed 5-year plans. We have to do what Psalm 37 verse 5 says, "Commit your way to the Lord, trust in him, and he will act." Let's be honest. How often do we treat God like a last resort instead of a first response? How often do we act and then pray instead of praying before we act? Today you have a choice, a chance to pause, to surrender, to say, "Oh Lord, not my will, but yours be done." I don't want to build what you haven't blessed. Let God be your architect. Let him be your compass, not your backup plan when things fall apart, but your cornerstone before anything is laid. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 6, verse 33, "Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you." So before you move on with your day, before you sign off on that decision or finalize that next step, ask yourself, have I made space for God? Have I truly invited him into the process? Let today be the day you stop building without the blueprint of heaven. Start with God and trust that everything else will align in his perfect time.